You walk into a meeting and you're the calmest person in the room. You handle chaos, you handle feedback, you handle other people falling apart without blinking. Then you walk in your front door, someone uses the wrong tone with you, and in under 3 seconds, you're not that person anymore. You already know this happens. You felt the switch flip. You felt the switch flip. You spent years trying to fix this with willpower, better scripts, the right books, journaling about your triggers, maybe therapy, good therapy even. That gave you all the language for why and none of the tools for what to do in the actual moment. And it hasn't fully worked. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, not because you haven't tried hard enough. It hasn't worked because you've been trying to talk your way out of something that isn't happening in the part of your brain that talks. Today we're mapping what exactly takes over your body and your behavior when safety disappears. The 6 protective patterns your nervous system defaults to, called the Sentry Archetypes. By the end of this video, you'll be able to name the difference between who you are and what your body does when it's scared. And you'll understand, maybe for the first time, why that difference actually matters. Here's what's actually happening. Your nervous system runs a continuous background process called neuroception, a term coined by Dr. Stephen Porges, the researcher behind polyvagal theory. Neuroception is your body's ability to scan the environment for danger hundreds of times a minute without your conscious mind being invited to the conversation. The moment a tone shifts, a text goes unanswered, a face changes, or a silence lasts a beat too long, your body registers that before your brain has finished forming a sentence. Wait, is this actually dangerous? By the time your logical mind catches up and asks, is this really a big deal? Your body has already answered. It's already bracing, already flooding with cortisol, already routing blood away from the prefrontal cortex into your muscles, preparing you to fight, flee, freeze, or fawn. This isn't a metaphor. This is measurable, published, replicated neuroscience. You felt your chest tighten before you knew why. You've heard yourself say something you didn't plan to say. You've gone quiet when you meant to speak up. And somewhere in there, you started wondering if you actually mean what you say when you're calm. Or if the real you is whoever shows up when things get hard. Here's the truth. Both of them are real you. The calm one and the activated one. The difference is just which system is currently running the show. Your thinking brain or your Sentry. The Sentry is the automatic protective system your body built to keep you safe in relationships. A survival template constructed early, often in childhood, from whatever kept you safest at the time. It's not a flaw in your design. It's proof your design worked. The problem isn't that your Sentry exists. The problem is that it's still running a script it wrote decades ago, using information that's wildly out of date about who's actually in front of you now. It's not a character flaw. It's a survival mechanism doing exactly what it was built to do for an environment that no longer exists. As you listen to these 6, notice which one your body already recognizes, because part of you already knows before I even finish describing it. The armored. When threat registers, you stiffen. Your jaw locks, your shoulders square, your breathing goes high and shallow in your chest. Control becomes the whole strategy because control feels like the only available form of safety. The armored doesn't yell and doesn't chase. It manages, it fixes, it takes charge of a room that suddenly feels unsafe, often before anyone else even notices something shifted. The storm. Your volume rises before you've consciously decided to raise it. Intensity becomes the way your body tries to force resolution fast. Loud is how it fights for connection. How it tries to break through what feels like an emergency before the moment gets away from you. It isn't about anger for its own sake. It's urgency with nowhere else to go. The seeker. Silence is unbearable. Distance reads as danger, so your body chases. Reassurance, a response, a resolution, anything that closes the gap fast. You might send that second text before the first one's even read. Not because you're needy, because your nervous system has learned that an open loop is a threat and it will not rest until the loop closes. The hollow. You go numb. Your system floods past its capacity to cope and simply shuts the door. Not coldness, but a nervous system that ran out of runway and pulled the emergency brake. Your heart rate can actually drop in this state. Your eyes lose focus. You're still standing there, but part of you has already left the room. The bunker. You disappear. Not dramatically, just quietly. You go still, you go internal, go gone, because too much input at once means the safest available move is retreat. You might physically leave the room, or you might just go quiet inside a room you're still sitting in. Either way, connection gets sacrificed for containment. The appeaser. You say, sure, no problem, while your body is screaming otherwise. Your boundary collapses before your mouth even fully opens because somewhere along the way, keeping the peace once meant keeping yourself safe. And your body never got the update that it's allowed to want something different now. Now, no, part of you just heard 2 or 3 of those and thought, that's not just my partner. That's work. That's my family. That's how I show up with my own kids too. That's not coincidence. That's the same nervous system wearing the same protective patterns showing up across every relationship you have. Romantic, professional, familial, even friendship. Your Sentry doesn't check the calendar before it activates. It just responds to the trigger wherever it shows up. And most people have one dominant Sentry with a second pattern that shows up when the first one gets overwhelmed. Which means the pattern you just recognize in yourself might only be half the picture. If you just felt your own pattern land in your body, that's exactly the moment to hit subscribe because this is week 1 of a full breakdown, 1 Sentry at a time over the next several weeks. You're going to want to be here for the deep dive on your specific archetype. Here's the part that's going to be uncomfortable, and I say this with real love. Knowing all of this doesn't fix it, not by itself. It's okay that insight hasn't been enough. That's not a personal failure. That's biology, and biology doesn't respond to being understood. It responds to being regulated. You cannot think your way out of a state your body is already in. The more your nervous system perceives threat, the less available your logical brain becomes, which means the exact moment you need clear thinking most is the exact moment it goes offline. This is measurable. Under high sympathetic activation, verbal processing and executive function measurably drop. You're not choosing to be less articulate mid-conflict. Your biology is temporarily taking the option off the table. This is why you can understand your pattern completely in a calm Tuesday afternoon conversation. Journal about it, even explain it beautifully to a friend, and still watch yourself do the exact same thing Thursday night mid-conflict in real time, like none of it ever happened. That's familiar, isn't it? It's not because the insight was wrong. It's because your insight lives in your prefrontal cortex and your Sentry lives somewhere insight can't reach on its own. In your muscle bracing, your breath pattern, your vagal tone. Regulation, not insight, is what changes the pattern. And regulation is a body-based skill, not a thinking-based one. And you can begin to notice, even right now, sitting there, that your body is capable of learning something new. That the pattern that got built once can be rebuilt. You can start identifying your pattern today, or you can keep living inside it and calling it your personality. Either way, once you see it clearly, you don't get to unsee it. That's just how this works. Over the next several weeks, we're going deep on each of the 6 Sentry archetypes, one at a time. The exact somatic cue that gives it away, the exact story it tells you in the moment, and the exact tool to bring your body back online in real time, mid-conversation, when it actually counts. If you want to know which one is running your relationships right now before we get there, the free Relational Nervous System quiz identifies your specific Sentry archetype in about 5 minutes. Link is in the description, and I'll tell you exactly which episode to watch first. If this helped your body exhale even a little, hit like. It genuinely helps us reach more people who need it. And share it with someone who's still calling their survival pattern a personality flaw. Welcome to the regulation era.